Hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries, Alex.F on the socials, and today we're talking about the most commonly asked suspension questions from you guys, because you send us a lot of emails, because you just send us a lot of emails with a lot of questions. So I have a list, and we're gonna be talking about the most commonly asked questions that we get asked, because we sell wheels, tires, suspension at fitmentindustries.com. I don't know how many times I've said that, but if anybody wants to go back and count the amount of times I've said it in all of our videos, I will give you like an exclusive, I don't know, wheel deal or something like that. Anyway, let's get into it. I hope you guys are ready. Let's get into question number one. Somebody asked, what is the difference between all the TEIN lines, the Flex Z, the Flex A, etc.? So the Flex Z is gonna be the most common one because it's the one that's most for like everyday use. When you look into like Flex A and stuff like that, it starts to get into more like rally and motorsport usage and stuff like that. Really, what you want to think about the TEIN coilover lineup is that they have ranges from $500 all the way up to $4,000. So depending on how much you plan on using the coilover is pretty much a direct reflection of how much money you're going to be spending. Now, you don't want to use money as a sole determinant for quality, but TEIN has options from $500 to $800 to $1,200, which is where we see most people spend their money. Not many people go up to the 3 to 4K just because it starts to compete with some of the higher brands like KW and stuff like that. But TEIN is super popular. It's one that we've seen a lot of people run. Most go with the Flex Z, just depending on their platform, and because there's so many different kits for that platform, it's just what moves the most. And it's for the everyday car, so it's a pretty good combination between performance and comfort. Second question, what is the best option for my vehicle with the most comfortable ride? Both coilovers and air suspension can have adjustable air, damping and things like that. Really, when you start changing out your suspension components, especially coilovers or air, coilovers specifically, you're not usually gonna get more comfort unless you have a really poor OEM suspension setup. Your coilover setup is meant to be more of a performance enhancement than a comfort enhancement. But air suspension can be more comfortable than your OEM replacement depending on what it is that you're buying. So it depends on how much money you're spending too. If you're looking to spend 3 or 4 grand because you want comfort, air suspension would hypothetically do that for you, but that's not really why people buy it. Question number 3, I don't see an air suspension option for my vehicle. Are there any kits available? Yes, there are. So air suspension kits can be pre-made to specific cars, and so they're not always gonna be listed on our site, and sometimes they're not gonna be listed on any site. So sometimes you just have to ask, and it's really similar to multi-piece wheels, where you just have to say, I have a blank, blank, blank. Is there an air suspension option for my vehicle? Just know that before you send that in, those kits are probably gonna cost anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000. Lowering springs versus coilovers versus air, what is best for me? What's your cost? What's the use of it, and what's the long-term goal of it? So lowering springs work great for a lot of new cars with electromagnetic suspension. They also work great as an entry-level suspension option if you're not looking to spend a ton of money. Coilovers are a great option that are right in the middle. They're functional, but they are static. They work great if you know how to dial them in, and air suspension is a lot of fun. It's a very versatile. You can get really good fitment options on it. You can drive wide wheels very easily with it, but then you also have the cost of it being the most expensive option, usually out of the other two. And there's more maintenance that you have to do with air suspension versus your coilover setup and stuff like that. Next question is, what is the difference between airlift suspensions, 3S, 3P, and 3H airlift kits? The 3S is a phone app. It's not an actual like thingy-majigger, and there's no saved presets. The 3P is most commonly purchased. It's one that airlift has had the longest. It's a pressure-based. That's what they call it, the 3P. And then you have the 3H, which is pretty much the height sensors. It's everything needed to record the height. What a lot of people will do though is they buy the 3H because they want a height adjustment, and they'll install the 3H, but they don't install it correctly, so they remove the height sensors and just run it as a 3P setup. So my tip for you guys is this: if you're looking to get air suspension set up on your car, and you're not 100% confident that you're gonna use like height-based sensors, either get the 3P or get an Accuair kit that has the height sensor kind of like built into everything, because you either wanna go knowing that you need the height sensors or knowing that you're not. But if you just waste the money and then you don't use the height sensors, it's not good for you guys. You wanna know why you're spending the extra money, and if you buy 3H and you don't use 3H, it's going to make me feel bad. Do I need different shocks with lowering springs? No, but if you're already down there, I'd probably just do the upgrade. If you have the extra cash, it's gonna help you out a ton. What spring rate should I get for my coilovers? Completely situational. It depends on if it's like track, stance, daily or not. The tighter the spring rate, generally speaking, the tighter the spring rate, the harder the ride. So if you're looking to fit something real static, real strong, you wanna go with a high spring rate so that the spring doesn't move as much when it has preload underneath it, but it results in a more uncomfortable ride. If you go with a lower spring rate, generally speaking, it's gonna be a little bit of a softer ride. So There is more science to that, and if you want to watch more history on it, Gels just did an episode on the build sheet talking all about that. How do I get negative camber? You get negative camber with adjustable camber plates on top, but if you don't have any, some vehicles have it built into their suspension components. Really, with like negative camber, if you don't purposely know what you're doing and you don't have camber plates, research it. It's more than just pressing a button or turning some knobs. The reason that you get camber is to dial in your fitment, at least from a minimal point of view. If you start doing super excessive, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes to make it happen. However, most coilovers will have adjustable camber plate tops, or most coilover setups will, and that will allow you to dial in some camber, at least from the top, a few degrees. What is the benefits of Swift Spring upgrade on the coilover kit? They're made from more reactive material. It's stronger and lighter. It's just overall considered a better spring. It is a little bit more, I think $200 to $300 more, but a lot of people that upgrade to the Swift Springs actually super enjoy it. They say that it's the best thing that they've ever done. And so I've ran Swift Springs before and I love them, and I've never had anything bad to say about them before. The problem is since it's more of a performance upsell versus like an aesthetic upsell, sometimes it's hard for people to see. What I can say is that if you're using your coilover setup to really dial in fitment and really get the most out of your coilovers, if you have the option to upgrade to Swift Springs, I would highly recommend that you do it. What size tank should I run for my air ride kit? Completely situational, because it's going to depend on your trunk size, but most common is a 4-gallon, or second behind is a 5-gallon. If you have a big car, go with a 5-gallon. If you have a small car, go with a 4-gallon. Or if you have 4 doors, 5 gallons, 2 doors, 4 gallons. Usually what I recommend. You can do pancake stuff if you got smaller cars, but really what you got to remember is that's what's holding all of the air for airing up your car and actually putting it on the ground. What size line should I get for my air ride kit? A quarter line is what we see from most people. Quarter line is like primo. 3/8 line is good. It's not bad, but because it's thicker, it's harder to run. It's also a little bit more like hydro, it feels like, when you are airing up and airing out, because there's so much air going through those lines that it can actually feel like you're just, it's gonna be a good day. Like, it's just not, it's not the same. I would recommend 1/4 inch line for those that are just getting into the air game. And if you wanna go 3/8, you certainly can if you've got a bigger vehicle, because you need more air to run through the lines. However, for most applications, I'd say about 80%, 1/4 inch line is what people run. So anyway, those are the most common questions that we get asked every day, because we sell wheels, tires, suspension at fitmentindustries.com. Let us know if you guys enjoyed this video and if you want us to do this for something like wheels and tires as well, because this is the stuff that we actually kind of do the other 60 hours a week while I'm here and eating ramen. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We got a BC coilover giveaway. Max just threw the shirt at me again, and if you guys haven't forgotten, if you pick up one of these t-shirts, it gets you automatically entered in to win a free set of BR Series BC Racing coilovers. It's actually pretty fitting considering the video that we're talking about. We have the description link below if you guys are looking to check it out, but I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We will see you guys later. Peace.